Hey everyone, and welcome back. Thinking about surrogacy to start or expand your family.
Yeah.
It's a huge decision, no doubt.
Absolutely, and finding the right surrogate is so important.
It really is like putting together the perfect team for the biggest project ever, your family. We've got a ton of research and articles all about choosing a surrogate.
And we're going to break it all down for you, the need-to-know info.
So you can feel confident making these choices.
Mm.
One thing that came up over and over again in our sources.
The surrogate's health history.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable, right? Has to be the foundation of everything.
Like building a house, you got to have that solid ground, that bedrock.
Okay, I like that analogy.
So we're talking healthy BMI, not too many previous pregnancies, ideally no more than 4.
And uncomplicated births, they kept saying.
Right, uncomplicated births.
What does that even mean, really? Is it as straightforward as it sounds?
Pretty much, yeah. Basically means a vaginal delivery, no C-section or anything major.
Okay, so each C-section makes things riskier next time. That's why it matters.
Exactly. Clinics and intended parents really look for that history of smooth births.
Makes total sense. So beyond just the medical history, though, our sources also talked a lot about lifestyle.
Right. It's not just what's on paper. It's daily habits, too. They all matter.
Makes you think it's like you're providing all the groceries for 9 months. What do you want in that shopping cart?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So things like smoking, alcohol, drugs, those are all obviously out.
Definitely no-brainers there.
Yeah.
But our source mentioned diet, too, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because you might assume once someone's pregnant, they'll eat healthy. But what about before?
Exactly. What are their existing habits like?
It shows their whole approach to health and well-being. Do they cook, eat nutritious foods, that kind of thing?
Shows how committed they are to a healthy pregnancy overall.
Mm.
All right, let's talk blood types.
Ah, yes.
Because I've heard everything matching is crucial. It doesn't matter at all. What's the deal?
Okay, so it all comes down to this thing called the Rh factor. It's a protein on red blood cells. If you are Rh negative and the surrogate is Rh positive, then your body might see the baby's blood as foreign.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, it can create antibodies against it. It's called Rh sensitization.
So it's like your body's going, hold on, what is this?
Exactly. And it can cause complications, especially for future pregnancies.
So it's not a total deal breaker.
Usually not. There's medication for it during pregnancy.
Yeah.
But you got to talk to your doctor and the clinic to be sure.
Get everyone on the same page. Okay, let's get a bit more personal now. The surrogate's motivation, why are they doing this?
Such an important question. It tells you about their values, how committed they are to the journey.
I know finances are a big reason, and then there's wanting to help others.
But how do you dig deeper than that?
Right. What are the questions to ask?
Instead of why do you want to be a surrogate, ask, what led you to this path? What sparked your interest?
Ooh, I like that. Gets them telling their story.
You could also ask about their hopes and expectations for the journey.
Tell me your story. Help me understand you.
Precisely. And it's not just what they say, but how they say it. Are they genuine, thoughtful?
Do their values line up with yours?
Uh-huh.
Got it.
Uh.
Okay, choosing a clinic. It feels like there are a million options.
It can be overwhelming for sure.
So how do you know who to trust? What makes a good clinic versus a not so good one?
Put on your detective hat, gotta gather info, ask the tough questions, make sure it's the right fit for you.
Love that. So where do we even start? What are the must-ask questions for these clinics?
First off, how do they vet potential surrogates? What are their medical and psychological evaluations like?
Are they just checking boxes or really digging deep?
Exactly. A good clinic will look at the surrogate's mental and emotional health, too.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Have they had postpartum depression before? Do they have a strong support system? Those things matter.
It's the whole picture, not just the physical stuff. What else should we be asking about?
Monitoring and support during the pregnancy. Does the clinic have a good program? Do they make sure surrogates go to all appointments?
Follow medical advice, keep up healthy habits, all of that.
Yep. And do they offer extra help, counseling, nutrition guidance, support groups?
It's like having a whole team to make sure things go smoothly. My friend had a doula. She loved that extra support.
A good support system makes all the difference. And don't forget about background checks.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
What's their process like? What are the criteria?
Got to make sure everyone involved is trustworthy.
Absolutely. And ask about their policy for replacing a surrogate if, something unexpected happens.
Right, you need to know they have a plan.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk red flags. What should make us hit pause on a clinic?
Our sources really emphasize cultural considerations, especially with international surrogacy.
Ah, yeah, different places have different norms around pregnancy.
You don't want to accidentally offend anyone or disrespect customs, right?
It's like traveling to a new country, you got to understand the local ways.
Exactly. Like in some cultures, smoking or having a little alcohol during pregnancy might be more accepted.
Whoa.
It's really important to talk about those cultural differences with the clinic and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Okay, so we've covered a lot about evaluating clinics.
Yeah.
But there's one more piece, the relationship with your surrogate.
It's not just a transaction.
Right. We've talked medicals, lifestyle, legal stuff.
Mm.
But what about the emotional side? How do you build that connection?
Well, it all starts with good communication, being open and honest.
Like those in-depth questions we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, you got to go beyond just the medical checklist, really get to know the person.
Makes sense. You're trusting them with something so important.
Carrying and nurturing your child is huge. That level of trust needs a real connection.
So how do you actually build that? What should intended parents think about?
Our sources talked about emotional readiness. Has the surrogate really thought through the emotional side of things?
Like carrying a baby that's not genetically theirs. How are they going to handle those feelings?
Exactly. And that's where a good clinic comes in.
Oh, right. They should be screening for that too.
Absolutely. They should have psychologists or counselors who specialize in surrogacy.
To help the surrogate work through those things.
Exactly. Okay, so let's say you found someone who seems like a good fit, had some conversations, you feel good about the clinic. What's next?
Yeah. What then?
Now it gets really interesting. It's about going beyond the formal stuff and making a personal connection.
More like friends.
In a way, yeah. Think about the relationship you want to have with your surrogate. How often will you talk? What are your expectations?
I bet some people want to be super involved, others not so much.
Totally. And that's fine. There's no right or wrong. But be upfront about it. Find someone who's comfortable with that.
Our source mentioned something I hadn't thought of much. Cultural and linguistic barriers.
Oh, yeah, especially with international surrogacy.
Right, if the surrogate's from another country.
You got to make sure you can actually communicate clearly. Does the clinic have translators, bilingual staff?
Because even little misunderstandings can snowball into big problems, huh?
Exactly. And it's not just the language itself. It's communication styles, customs, expectations around pregnancy.
It's like
Yeah.
you got to bridge those cultural gaps and find common ground.
You got it. Okay, so we've talked about emotional stuff, communication, culture, anything else.
Is there more?
Don't forget about the surrogate support network. Do they have family, close friends, people they can lean on?
Yeah, I imagine it can get tough emotionally sometimes.
For sure. Having that support system is crucial.
Make sure they have the care they need to really thrive. Wow, this has been so helpful.
Glad to hear it.
I feel like we've really looked at every part of choosing a surrogate, from the medical stuff to that personal connection.
We wanted to give you the knowledge and the questions to feel good about this process.
But before we wrap up, I want to bring it back to you, the listener. Imagine you're sitting down with a potential surrogate, having a casual chat, maybe over coffee. What's that one question you'd ask to really get a sense of who they are, why they're doing this, if they're the right fit for your journey?
That's a powerful question to think about. It makes you focus on what truly matters.
It goes beyond the paperwork and the medicals. It's about that human connection.
Exactly. Choosing a surrogate is so personal, there's no one right way to do it. What works for one person might not work for another.
It's about finding that perfect match, someone who shares your values and your vision.
And don't be afraid to trust your instincts. If something feels off, ask more questions, do more research, get a second opinion.
You're the one in charge. This is your family, your future.
We hope this deep dive has helped you feel more confident and clear about this whole process.
We've talked about a lot, but finding the right surrogate can be such a rewarding experience.
It's about building that relationship based on trust and respect and shared dreams.
It's about bringing someone amazing into your life to help you create the family you've always wanted.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are resources, support groups, communities out there.
So keep learning, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep believing in this incredible journey.
It really makes you think about what's at the heart of it all.
Yeah, it is about more than just checking off boxes. It's a real human connection.
Exactly. And, choosing a surrogate is such a personal thing. There's no right or wrong way to go about it.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Right, and that's okay.
It's about finding that perfect match,
Yeah.
that person who gets you, shares your values.
And don't be afraid to trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right,
Yeah, if you're having doubts,
don't hesitate to ask more questions, do more research, even get a second opinion.
you're the one making this decision. It's your family, your future.
We really hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to navigate this process.
We've covered so much today. But the bottom line is, finding the right surrogate can be such an amazing experience.
Building that relationship, the trust, the respect, working towards the same goal.
It's about welcoming someone truly special into your life to help create the family you've always dreamed of.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There's support out there, resources, groups, communities.
People have been there, done that.
So keep learning, keep asking those questions.
And never give up on that dream. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.